Hey sports fans, are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a down south education on Florida sports and athletics. It's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back, you guys. Welcome to Palm Tree Sports. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Happy Sunday, you guys. To everybody that's out there, I just want to say, hey, it's wonderful to be alive. It's wonderful to be here, on this show, and to be able to bring you guys this information. I just want to say thank you first and foremost for joining me on this ride, guys. We had a wonderful card last night. I can't wait to talk to you guys about it, along with the other information that I have for you. But if you missed what happened last night, we're going to talk about it as well. UFC 300, the biggest card in mixed martial arts history, and it lived up to the hype, guys. So keep it locked here. Towards the end of the show is when we'll discuss that. But the primary function of this show is going to serve to be the discussion and, I guess you could say rumblings about what's going on here in Florida sports. And especially with a couple of seasons starting to come to an end, I'm pretty sure you're going to want to know where these teams are sitting and what they're going to be doing next. And I have that information for you. So first things first, let's get it popping with the comments. Hey, Dad, I see you in there. Ricky, Taryn, good to see you guys. I'm very happy that you're able to join me on this evening's show. I look forward to bringing you guys all the information that you guys need moving forward, at least to know what's going on here in Florida. And as far as what's going on in Florida, guys, if you didn't know, those memes about it's a Florida man or like Florida is it's a Florida thing, it really is, guys. It's absolutely insane down here. Earlier this week, I woke up and it was like, so mind you, I'm in Central Florida, right? So I'm right next to Tampa and Brandon. It's essentially just Tampa Part 2. And earlier this week, we had a day, we woke up, it was 55, and it went from 55 to 80 to raining, back to 55, back to 80. So it's like that, guys. For those of you who have fair weather, I am jealous of you, because we don't have that here. It's every bit the tropical expression that you hear of, and trust me, it's been doing its thing, so it's driving me crazy. And I also say that to say, if you guys hear a little stuffiness, I apologize. That's the reason for it. It gets crazy down here right about this time. We should be approaching, right, the beginning of summertime, but it's pretty much summertime from, mid-March to, October-ish. It's kind of it just lasts forever. I don't know if you guys have that where you guys are at, but if you do, let me know. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, so if I sound a little congested, I apologize you guys, but thank you anyway for dealing with that. Now, moving on to business at hand, right? So, even though we're not in the NFL season, I do have a little bit of information coming out of Tampa Bay. Actually, this is something of a celebratory thing, and for anybody who has children, you guys know how precious this is. But within the same month, our offensive tackle, our all-pro best offensive tackle in the league, to be honest with you, Tristan Wirfs, welcomed his first child into the, here, in Tampa Bay, I would say, amongst other things, it's pretty cool, right? Because these are people that we look up to, and we're also seeing that they're real and they have their own personal lives as well. And it's a beautiful moment for any parent. I can tell you right now that the birth of my children is, paramount for me. It's the greatest moment, borrow none. Graduating, high school was great, winning a tournament and doing all these different things. It's so cool, right? But honestly, nothing compares to when you have your first child and, you're holding them and you realize it's bigger than just you, and that's what Tristan is learning. But he's not the only person learning that, because Baker Mayfield, our quarterback, who led us to the playoffs last year, has also welcomed his first child. Him and his wife have opened their first child into the world, and it's a baby girl. So congratulations to both of those guys. Again, my hat is off. They look absolutely, just ear to ear smiling. I've seen a few pictures of them. There's actually a picture of them at, I think, One Buck Place or at some type of meeting ground, but it looks like One Buck Place from what I saw. And they're sitting in the room and they're both holding their kid, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty cool, right? Because now there's that added incentive, especially when they go out there and play. I don't know if people realize this, but when you do something, it's different when you're doing it and you know that somebody's watching you. Somebody precious, somebody that you care about is watching you. So I think that these guys are going to become better because of this. And I hope and pray for nothing but the best for them. Welcoming them to fatherhood, they'll do a phenomenal job. I just know it. And I'm sure that this is a turning point for both of them, and I think that we've yet to see the best of those two come, and I think this could be something that helps push them and motivates them to be that much better. So, congratulations to Tristan, congratulations to Baker. You guys are wonderful. We're glad to have you in Tampa Bay, and just praying for the best for you and you guys' family. If you hear this, congratulations, guys. Congratulations 100 times over. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's it. I mean, there are some rumblings about what's going on as far as contractually speaking with some of the players here in Tampa Bay. Same thing with Jacksonville and Miami, of course. Like I said last week, the whole deal with Miami is that they're looking at Odell Beckham Jr. Jacksonville's trying to figure out how to become a better team with the pieces that they have. And the Buccaneers are just trying to find a way to sign Tristan Wirfs and Antoine Winfield long term. Odds are it's probably going to happen next year because obviously they had to take care of Baker and they had to take care of Mike Evans this year. The point being, the Buccaneers are trending in an upward direction while we're being able to retain the majority of all of their key stars and players that were made us successful a year ago. I look forward to seeing what happens in the draft. That is around the corner, about a month away. And we are going to see how this team, along with all 31 other football teams, transform. The draft is always one of the funnest times to be a part of the NFL, and I can't wait to get a look at what these teams choose to do and who they go after. The last thing that I saw from Tampa Bay is that they were looking at, what's his name, Jackson Powers Johnson or something? That's an interesting name. I think that's the kid's name from Oregon. The guy's a stud. I mean, I saw a little bit of his gameplay live. I only watched 2 Oregon games last year, and I think they were both losses to Washington. So, but I say that to say he's a great pick, and Tampa Bay would be lucky to have him, and I think that would be a phenomenal piece to the puzzle among other things that they're looking for, especially in the first round. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's what's going on, guys, for the NFL as far as Florida is concerned. There's more action going on in the NBA, which is actually what we're going to go to right now. So as far as the NBA may be concerned, about a month, I would say a month and a half ago, close to 2 months ago, I got on here and I told you guys it would be really cool if the Magic and the Heat made the playoffs. If I remember correctly, the only other time they made the playoffs in these two teams' history together in the same year was in 1997. And it's happened one more time. That's correct. Both the Magic and the Heat have clinched the playoffs. The Heat have clinched the 8 spot. The Magic have clinched the 5 spot. So the Heat, unfortunately, will have to play another game. Same route they took last year. Going to have to work into the play-in tournament. They were able to beat the Raptors. Obviously, the Raptors not playing great basketball, rocking a 25-57 record. This is not a recipe for success. So I'm not going to say that Miami did anything serious by winning this game. But momentum is momentum, especially when you're headed into a play-in game, right? The reason why I say that is I've played sports, and if anybody else has played sports here, you guys know that momentum is one of the biggest things to have on your side. When you're in what we call in martial arts your flow state, you become exponentially harder to beat while winning easier. And what that means is, imagine you're at the fair or the circus, and they have those little games where you can shoot the BB gun at the moving ducks, and you have people who just get in a rhythm and they just hitting every duck, right? And you've seen it, right? Might have been your parents, might have been somebody you know, close friend, whatever the case may be. Well, it's similar to that, right? And I think that's something that Miami is trying to do right now. Miami is as healthy as they've been for the most part since the beginning of the season, which doesn't say much, but it's enough to say that this game is a game that they can win. The play-in tournament has them pitted against the 76ers, okay? The 76ers were playing tremendous basketball in the first half of the year. Joel Embiid goes down with the injury, and now it's a question mark. And it's still a question mark. Yes, Joel's a great talent, and there's no telling what he's going to be able to help that team do. But we saw that team struggle without him. And it's one of those things where you realize, okay, one player does make a difference, but does it make a difference in the face of tremendous team ball play? That's what Miami's going to have to bring to the table if they're going to beat the 76ers. There's a rivalry here that goes back to the days of, I believe, 2018, I think it was. If you guys know the history, of course, between Jimmy and the 76ers, this is something that it's stirring, it's stirring, and you can see that the pot is set to broil. So it's one of those things where I'm excited to see where it goes, but this game is probably going to be one of the two most entertaining games, with the other game probably being LA versus the Warriors. Those are the two games I'm most excited about as far as the play-in games are concerned. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Let's go Miami. Of course, it's not going to be an easy game. Like I said, both of these teams are going to lay it all on the line every single time, especially during the play-in. So, good luck again, Heat. They enter this 8th seed playoff ranking with a 46-36 record, which is actually just one game behind the Magic, who are ranked 5, 3 ranks above them. So it's one of those things also we talked about earlier, if you guys remember in the show. Not only is it interesting that they both made the playoffs, but they're doing with almost the exactly identical record. The only difference is the Magic were able to do a little bit more towards the end of the stretch of the season. And, hey, great team basketball. That's what it comes down to. Every single time, that's what it's going to come down to. And I think the Magic overall played better team basketball. They're a younger team with more improvements to be made. I could see this team winning 50 games next season, maybe more, especially with the way that they were going to play this year. Super proud of them, super excited for them. But that leads me back to what's going to happen with this Heat game. Should the Heat win against the 76ers, they will be playing the Knicks. Winner of that game, period, the end, is going to play the Knicks, which is going to be a very interesting series. I think the Knicks have played probably the best overall team basketball aside from the Celtics, but the Celtics are part of the usual suspects, and that's not a team I have a lot of faith in. The Celtics tend to make the playoffs and go pretty deep and then lose. I mean, when was the last time they won, in the NBA championship? They had the big three, right? It was Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen. That was the last time Boston, won a championship. So it's one of those things where I think that they're more of a show team. They're not a for-real team. And I think that pretty much any of these other teams have a chance at beating them, have a great chance, not even a puncher's chance, just a great chance at beating them, whether it be in the second, third, or semifinals. So, we'll see what happens. Once we get Eastern Conference Finals area, I think, like I said, that any of these other teams right here, the 76ers, the Knicks, of course, the Heat, the Magic, the Bucks, all of these teams are capable of beating the Cavaliers. They're capable of beating them. So we'll see what happens there. But that's what's going on for Miami, translating to what's going on with the Magic. Again, 3 ranks above them at rank 5, rocking a 47-35 record. They will be playing the Bucks in the first series. They don't have to worry about the play-in. So congratulations, Magic, on not needing to worry about that. But you did draw the Bucks. The Bucks is probably, in my opinion, the scariest team in the East. And the reason why is simple. Again, I don't think Boston's for real. And I think the Knicks at 2 is kind of just a weird spot for them. When was the last time they were ranked this high in the East? That's the real question I think that we're asking ourselves about the Knicks. Like, are they ready for this spot? Like, are they ready to be looked at as a powerhouse here in the playoffs when they've had such a long playoff drought as far as winning big series, and the big one in general, which would be the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA's National Championship? They haven't been able to do either. It's just been absolutely forever since the Knicks have been a for real team. And when I mean for real, I mean actually making it, again, to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Championship. They haven't done that again in forever. So I think that the Knicks probably are going to have to play some of the best basketball they played all year. I mean, I don't think there's a way around that. With the Bucks, on the other hand, the Magic draw a playoff team that has seen Giannis win a ring already. And not only that, but the guy's on another level. You talk about some of the best individual basketball players of this current generation, and I think, the former generation would be, LeBron, Steph, those guys, right? You look at this generation now: Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Luka, Trae Young. Those are the guys that kind of come to mind with the current generation that we have. The Knicks don't really possess anybody on that team that stand up I think the way that Giannis does, and you add Damian Lillard, a guy with some other playoff experience, and he played out west, I think that the Bucks are actually going to be the scary team in the East. I think as long as they're healthy, that's the team that everybody else should kind of avoid. Again, the Celtics are great, but I don't know. Taryn, you said it best. That they do find a way to crumble in the playoffs. It's one of those things where you watch a team be successful in the regular season, and you're like, who cares? Like, they're not going to do anything when it matters. Like, you guys remember Aaron Rodgers after he won the Super Bowl with Green Bay? Best quarterback in the league, right? Best quarterback. The year after that, he actually might have played better football than he did the year he won the Super Bowl, because I watched him. I watched about 6 of his games that year. And I was watching him do things that was just like, he's playing against the Rams, he rolls out weak side and launches the ball 50 yards downfield for a 70-yard touchdown. And you're like, who wrote this? Whose idea was this? Because I'm pretty sure it was a great idea. Do it again. Well, that's who the Celtics remind me of, right? Like, they play tremendous basketball throughout the regular season, and then, boom, playoffs hit. Boom, they just start dropping the ball. Literally, they just start dropping the ball. And I think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that the NBA likes to push, obviously this seems a little, I'm not going to say rigged, but you can kind of see where I'm going with this. You can see the love that Boston receives from the NBA. Okay, it's one of the most well-covered teams, one of the most well-represented teams a year in and year out. And I think that that's the team that they always want people to see when they think of the East. I don't like that, but I think that's kind of the strategy there that the NBA is working with. And when you do something like that, you see a team, again, perform that way. You see a set of players perform the way that they do, but yet when it's time to put the chips down, they're running a flat. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the poker face is just that. It's just a poker face. There's nothing in hand, right? So, Magic, Heat both have great chances, especially, like I said, Knicks aren't for real. I think they're a great team, but I don't know if they're for real. I don't know if they actually have the star power to really one-up a team like Milwaukee. Again, that's the team that I think is scary. I think the Cavaliers are the dark horse pick in the East, which, Jesus, that's not the first time we've used that terminology. And ironically speaking, that's exactly who the Magic are going to play. This Magic Cavaliers series has the potential to be the best series in the East, to be completely honest with you. And I personally can't wait to see it. Good luck to the Magic. May the best team win. The Cavaliers are rocking a 35 record, there. They're ranked 4, so just a rank above the Magic. I think that, like I said, this is probably going to be the best match that we're going to see. I don't know what to expect. The only thing I do think I expect is the series to go 6 games. I don't see this being just a walk for either one of these teams. Again, either one of these teams are capable of being the dark horse team, although I think the Magic are playing phenomenal basketball at this time. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm super excited for that series. Can't wait to see what happens. And, of course, after that, then we'll see what happens between the winner of the 76ers and the Heat game playing the Knicks. So that's what's going on there in the NBA, guys. Like I said, I have my viewpoints about it. Obviously, I could be wrong, but let's look at it from that perspective. Again, Celtics aren't for real. The Knicks could be for real. I don't know. Now, Ricky said that he can't trust the Bucks with Doc as a head coach. It's weird, but I kind of agree with you. Oh, it is weird, and I agree with that second point. So the East is just weird. That's why I'm shocked the Knicks got the 2 side. Well, excuse me there. I agree 100%. That's exactly why I'm saying what I'm saying, right? Because it's the Knicks sitting at 2 doesn't seem correct. Well, I mean, what is this, 1993? You know what I'm saying? Like, is Patrick Ewing playing for the Knicks or something? Like, did John Starks magically come back and decide to start dunking on Michael Jordan again? Is that what we're about to witness? Like, I don't know, right? It's a weird thing in the East right now, but I think that makes it more entertaining, and I think that is a strategy that should be exploited more. Realistically speaking, again, I don't think anybody saw the Knicks as a 2. Anybody who put the Knicks as a 2, you're a wizard. But for my money, the 2 would have been, before the season, my thought process was the 2 probably would have been the Celtics. I would have had Milwaukee at the 1. And then the 3 I was thinking would probably be the 76ers. But then again, Joel got injured. So it is a very, very weird seeding. The usual suspects are there, but not in the usual locations. And I think that makes for some different series than what we've seen in the last few years. And again, I'm super excited about that. Doc's on the other hand, I think he's just a placeholder. I think that the image is a good image because of his history in the league, but I don't think his coaching is updated. I think specifically his coaching style is something that succeeds when you have kind of a stagnant NBA, and we don't have that right now, right? Like, there are a ton of young guys out there ripping it up right now. I mean, look at the Orlando Magic, one of the youngest teams in basketball, playing absolutely phenomenal, especially when they struggled last year as young as they were. I mean, Paulo Blanchard, he's a freaking star. He is a stud, and nobody's talking about it, right? He's an absolute monstrosity on the court, and he's played that way throughout the year, and nobody's talking about it. So, I agree. I think that Doc's coaching style is outdated. I think that he doesn't have fresh ideas. And for those of you who have played sports or studied sports for a very long time, there's one thing that you have to do. It doesn't matter if you're in football, basketball, soccer, tennis, hockey, pro wrestling, mixed martial arts. You have to reinvent yourself. You have to constantly become a better version of yourself, or change who that version of yourself is into a more potent, more accurate, more delivering version of yourself. A quick example of that would be, for those of you who watch pro wrestling, you guys may remember The Undertaker. The Undertaker was a guy that it didn't matter what year, what decade, what the theme, what the pay-per-view was, he was always able to adapt and become relevant to its scenario. And that's something that I've always loved about him. So I think that, that's something that Doc is going to have to figure out. But, hey, what can we do, right? Like, I mean, that's, again, it's the image that they want, right? And I think that's the real reason why he's there. So, but yeah, guys, that's what's going on there in the NBA. Hey, listen, let's go ahead and take our first break. When I get back, we'll dabble a little bit on what happened in the orange and blue game. My apologies, guys. We'll talk about that. We'll get into what's going on with the Bolts and the Panthers as their season nears the end. We'll talk about how well the Rays are playing, winning 4 of their last 5. Okay, shout out to the Rays in 3rd place. Okay, good job, boys. And then we'll wrap it up with what took place last night at UFC 300. Thank you so much for having it locked here. Again, my name is Corey Pools, your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Keep it locked here. We'll be back in 2 minutes, you guys.
Well, what is up, Carolina Nation? This is John Felipe of the Carolina Cast, of course, the podcast of, by, and for the Carolinas, right here on IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm reminding you to tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the latest in Carolina sports, whether it's the Panthers that keep on pounding, the fly natures of the Hornets, the storming Hurricanes, the battle of the Blues with Duke and UNC, the fight of the Clemson Tigers, or the amazing atmosphere of any Carolina college. I'm talking App State, I'm talking ECU. I've got you covered. Once again, tune in for the Carolina Cast with me, John Felipe, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey yo, what's up? It's your man Bishop, the voice of This Is KC Sports, the show where we go over the Chiefs, the Royals, KC Current, Sporting KC, MU, and oh yeah, if we got time, we'll even throw in some of that KU stuff for my people on the 913 South. Come and hang out with us every Sunday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Yes, sir, and we are back like we never left, guys. Welcome back to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pools, your host, and as always, this is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. You guys, listen, I am as diehard as it gets from my Florida Gators. I'm one of those guys where, like, I'll say I'm turning the game off because we're getting smashed, and then I'll keep watching it, and my heart will sink deeper into my chest and deeper than it ends up in my stomach, and then I'm just like outside looking at the sky, You know, I'm one of those guys. I really am. So when I tell you I'm always excited to see the orange and blue game, it's literally something I always try to catch, but it happens so early in the day, usually on a weekday, which is Miami and FSU play their games usually on the weekend on a Saturday, right? And the Gators will play theirs on a Monday or a Friday when we're at work, or you know what I mean, or in school, whatever the case may be. So I'm almost always having to watch the highlights. But when I tell you the Gators have the best young quarterback in college football, we do. And I'm not even joking a little bit. DJ Lagway looked absolutely phenomenal. Okay, the kid's fresh out of high school, fresh out of Texas, transported here to Florida, rocking the blue and orange, sexiest uniform in all of college football. Yes, Oregon, we understand you guys have some nice uniforms, and we don't care. We don't. And we have the best uniforms. Okay, Gator Trump all day, baby. But check it out. That orange and blue game saw Trace Mack, our place kicker, kicked the game-winning 19-17 field goal to push the blue past the orange. Graham Mertz, he threw an interception, also threw a deep touchdown. He's got competition. I know he came back, but Billy Napier is on the hot seat. For those of you who watched any of the Gator games last year, a lot of forgettable stuff took place, right? And it's important to note that DJ being here may very well, depending on how this team performs this year, grant Billy Napier another year. Being able to recruit, pound for pound, the best college football player, high school football player in this past recruiting class, I mean, that means a lot. You know, that really, really means a lot. So, for those of you who didn't pay attention, DJ Lagway is playing down in Texas last year along with the other guy who was a front runner for the best high school athlete. I forgot what his name was, but he was also out there in Texas. They played each other. It was an amazing game. DJ finished with some stats that are soil your sweats, okay? Like, realistically speaking, this guy is an absolute anomaly. And you look at him, and he's built, and he looks kind of like a crossover between Anthony Richardson, okay, and another former Florida Gator that people didn't realize played for Florida, which was Cam Newton, okay? The guy's big, and I mean big, like he's built big. Like I said, kind of built like Anthony Richardson, but has the arm and the delivery, okay, of Cam Newton, okay? And it's one of those things where it's like, man, if he puts all that together, the SEC is in trouble. Okay, and why do I say this? Well, check it out. Georgia lost for the first time since the Triassic period last year, okay, to Alabama. If you guys remember that, because FSU was so butthurt, if you guys remember that, and we were telling them, hey, look, be mad at Georgia. They lost. If they didn't lose, y'all don't have this problem. You still get smashed, but you don't have that problem. Well, now that Georgia has been shown to be beatable, and we already know LSU and Alabama and all those teams are beatable because they lost last year, now it's just about going out and executing, right? Like, now you just got to go out there, you got to coach a great game, you got to have the athletes all around. Wait, we do have athletes all around the ball now. Would you look at that? So I think the Gators are going to have a chance to be a threat this year, but they're going to have to start quick, and they're going to have to start like absurdly quick. I mean, like, they're going to have to cheat a little bit. And when I mean cheat, I mean like the running part. Like, the SEC is such a dog-eat-dog world. There's so many powerhouses, there's so many good teams, there's so many good coaches that in order for the Gators to be successful, they're going to have to play their best players. And that means don't be surprised if you guys see DJ Lagway starting over Graham Mertz. Now, Graham Mertz played a great season last year. He did a great job on the offensive side of the ball. Unfortunately, the biggest problem for us was defensively, which is something I feel like the Gators really did go out and address during the offseason. I'm very, very impressed with the moves that they were able to make and the recruiting class. Again, with Billy being on the hot seat, it's going to determine his future here at Florida. I hope that regardless of what happens this year, that they give him another chance the year after. And here's the reason why. Have you guys seen the Florida Gators schedule? I mean, if you have, do me a favor, type yes in the chat, okay, if you've seen the Florida Gators schedule, because if you haven't seen the Florida Gators schedule, okay, I'm going to pull it up real quick. I'm going to pull it up real quick. It's It's evil. Somebody was upset, okay, at Florida for something that we did. What? I'm sure I don't know. We were terrible last year, okay? Like, we played okay football, but guys, what I'm about to reveal to you right now, for those Tyrion, you've seen, okay, perfect, so you know what I'm about to say. Marcus, I see you, brother. Salute. I'm going to give y'all this information right now, okay? Get ready for this, because this, y'all think I'm joking. This is the hardest schedule in college football history. I don't care. I don't care. Listen to this. Week 1 at Miami. Okay, actually, I think we're hosting Miami, not at Miami. So, week 1, hosting Miami. Week 2, easiest game of the schedule right here, Sanford. Okay, cool. There's an easy game. After that, it's Texas A&M, Mississippi State, UCF, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. This pause is on purpose, so I'm going to continue to pause a little bit later. Okay, so I want to run back to you those last 6, I think it was. Okay? 7. I'm going to run back just the last 7 games. Okay? Here are the last 7 games that I just mentioned. Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. This schedule would tear any team from any decade, from any school apart. Okay? I could think maybe of 4 or 5 teams total in college football history that has a shot at going undefeated in this team, okay? You take that Georgia team from 2 years ago, all right, they've got a chance. You take that Bama team from, God, what year was that? The year that they beat the Gators. I mean, that defense was just stifling. I think that Alabama team was 09 or something like that. It might have been 09. Was it? I can't remember. It might have been 09. Obviously, I'm going to put that Gators team under Tebow in there as well, just because what people didn't realize is Tebow was able to control the game. He was always able to control tempo. You know, when he had the ball in his hands, that it was safe and that he was going to do something with it. And he's, arguably the greatest college football player of all time. I think of also that Miami team from 2000, or was it 2001, I think it was. But you get what I'm saying. The point is, you get what all the teams that I'm naming, that you legitimately have to have star power almost everywhere to deal with a schedule like this. I mean, alone, having to face Georgia, Texas, and LSU in succession it's a near-death experience. I mean, what are we, pirates, and this is 1600 or something? What is this? We're about to be hanged. Like, this is ridiculous right here. So, I will say this. Billy deserves another year. Okay? Regardless of what happens, Billy deserves another year. And if that's not enough to gauge that process for you, then you haven't watched enough college football. We've never seen a schedule like this before. The closest thing we've seen to this schedule is back when Alabama, LSU, and Auburn were all like just top 10 in the league. If you guys remember that. And Ole Miss, that was, what was that, 2017? I can't remember. That was the year that like Alabama was like ranked 2nd, Ole Miss was like ranked 3rd, Auburn was like ranked 8 or something like that. It was insane. It was absolutely cracked. But I think that was the only other time we've ever seen a schedule that hard. And mind you, it was only that hard because they're all in the West. Texas just came over to the SEC. Now, I'm a huge fan of that. I love Texas. Always been a great fan of Texas and the Longhorns and what they have to offer out there. But I'll have to admit, this is rough. This is rough, guys. So anyway, I just want to add that element of desperation to that bit of the conversation for those who weren't paying attention. Just remember that, with this schedule, it doesn't matter who you are as a head coach or who you are as a player. Any team, any coach would struggle with this type of relentless schedule that we possess. So I think Billy, regardless of what happens this year, unless he just goes 0-11, 0-12, I fully expect him to be in here the year after that. If he's able to win 6 games, I'd bring him back. If he's able to win more than that, I'd probably give him another 2 years. Hey, we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what happens. But I just had to get that out there to you guys for those who haven't seen it. Go Gators, though. Always go Gators. Love you guys. Orange and Blue game was a success. Congratulations. on all the players who were able to get their pads dirty and get, a little acquainted with getting back to football speed. So definitely proud of those boys and that they're not quitting, they're moving into this thing full steam ahead. That's it for college football, guys. Let's move on over to the NHL. As this season for hockey is starting to end, we have two different teams going in two totally different directions, albeit they both made the playoffs. If your name is the Florida Panthers, you're feeling pretty good right now. If you are the Tampa Bay Bolts, you're thinking, all right, one game at a time. We got a Rocky Balboa this thing. We're tired, we're hurting, but we're here. Okay? Been through a lot, but we're here. I say that to say this. The Bolts arrive in this playoffs with a rank 4. That is good enough for 44 wins, 28 losses, and 8 overtime experiences. I don't like to say losses or wins for those because it's a weird concept in hockey. I'll just use that terminology to broaden the horizon of that playoff picture. But they lost to the Capitals 4-2 last night. The Capitals are rocking a 31-11 record. So they're not a bad team. They're just not a great team. The Bolts are going to have to win those games if they expect to go far in the playoffs. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? I think that's what matters here. Now, there is an element of rest and relaxation that may be upon them. It wouldn't surprise me to see that. But again, when you have Stamkos and Kirchhoff and Vasilevsky, just all these juggernauts of hockey players, some of the very best hockey players in the world, okay? And you're losing to the Capitals. You're skirting into the playoffs off the back of playing spotty hockey at different times of the year. I mean, there were times where this team was absolutely on fire, and then there were times where we're looking at them and we're saying, what's going on? Okay. Needless to say, this is one of those times we're looking at them and saying, what's going on? Because realistically speaking, we're better than this. Let's not act like we're not. I mean, come on, guys. We're better than this. So, but shout out to the Bolts for making the playoffs. That loss was a bit of a tight loss there. But, hey, listen, you clinched the 4 spot. The next game is going to be against the Sabres. We got 2 games left before playoff hockey begins for the Bolts. 1 game for the Panthers. So get ready for that if you guys are wanting to see how this team is going to perform. At least how they're performing currently. Now would be the time to do it against the Sabres. This team's rocking a 38, 37-6 record. They couldn't beat the Capitals yesterday. So depending on what happens here will determine the level of momentum that we're carrying headed into this playoff seeding. And I fully expect them to win this game. But if they don't, man, Jesus, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say about the Bolts. I believe in this team explicitly. I love this team explicitly. I can't wait to see them play, but they're going to have to play better than what they've been doing, and that's just on general principle. They're 1-3 in their last 4, and heading into the playoffs, that's not where you want to be. It's not. It's just not. I mean, like I said, resting your players, taking it easy, good move, okay? But not winning the games, not developing that momentum, man, I hate to be stagnant in sports. I'll tell you that much. I hate to be stagnant in sports. Real quick, to go back to the college football part, just for a second, you guys, Dad, you made a good point there. Top 5 hard schedule. Here's your top 5 hardest schedules per Dad. The Gators have the number 1 hardest schedule. Okay, we knew that. That's a foregone conclusion. But check this out. Why Arkansas has a tough schedule, I'm sure I don't know. Because what did Arkansas do to deserve? The last time they were good, their running back's name was Derek McFadden. I believe McFadden played for Arkansas. Am I tripping? He might have been Oklahoma. I think it was Arkansas. I can't remember. But I think it was Arkansas. Anyhow, that was a long time ago. I was a kid. I was still in school. Okay, that's the point that I'm making. Is that it's been a long time since Arkansas has been a really relevant team, and hey, can't make this stuff up. Then you got the Sooners, right? Okay, yeah, Oklahoma, we get it. Power 5 team, Power 5 conference, blah 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 blah. The Oklahoma Sooners are a team that I'm impartial to. I love watching the Red River rivalry. I'm one of those people where I turn it on. I'm just like, yeah, knock each other out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love these two teams, and it's hard for me to pick. I usually slide more Texas than Oklahoma. I've always been a little bit more of a Texas fan, but I respect both these teams. I love both these teams as long as they don't play Florida. South Carolina Gamecocks, again, what did the Gamecocks do? Like, what did they do to deserve a hard schedule? It's just because it's by virtue of being in the SEC. Realistically speaking, that's where the strength of schedule comes from, because when I tell you who 5 is, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, well, duh, Georgia Bulldogs, right? So, Dad, thank you for putting that in there. For those of you who aren't reading the chat or can't read the chat at the moment, those are your top 5 hardest schedules, and take a look at it. Out of the top 5, 4 of them are SEC teams. Okay, so anybody wants to have that debate on whether SEC is still the most powerful conference in college football, debate with your mama. It's the truth. Okay, this proves it right here. That proves it right there. So, thanks again, Dad, for that. But let's get back over to the NHL side of things. Back to the Bolts, what we were talking about. As I mentioned just before crossing back over, the Bolts have 2 more games to play before the playoffs begin. Now is the time to even up that 1-3 to a 3-3. Right now is the time to do it. You need some momentum, period, the end. You're going into a playoff scene where you're going to have to probably see the Bruins or the Panthers. Both of these teams playing electric hockey at the time. And 2 of the very best teams in all of hockey, and they've been 2 of the best teams over the last 5 years. Let's just call it like what it is. Even though the Bolts have played tremendous hockey and won 2 Stanley Cup finals, these are not teams that I really feel comfortable bumping into it the way that our team has played, and we will wait to see what happens. But all the luck, all the love goes to our Bolts. The city is behind you. We will forever always be behind you guys, and you have our support. Good luck, Bolts. We love you. Panthers, on the other hand, trending in a different direction. This team is good enough for second place over there in the Atlantic Division. They win 51 games. They lose 24, and they put 6 into overtime. Guys, this is a recipe for success. When you talk about playing effective hockey, this is what it looks like. The Florida Panthers have been a standard over the last few years, and really, it's hard to look at a team and say, oh, this team plays better. Yes, the Bruins, they're a tremendous hockey team, but I think the Panthers can go toe-to-toe with this team, and if they were to play, it would probably be the best series that we would see out of the Atlantic Division. The 3 spot belongs to the Maple Leafs, but we're not talking about Canada right now, so whatever. The point is this: our Bolts, our Panthers have both made the playoffs. Okay, for I don't know how many times in a row this is now. It could be 3 or 4 times, 3rd or 4th time in a row, maybe more than that. But I'm just so proud of both of these teams. But obviously, I'm more of a Bolts fan. I mean, Tampa Bay, Florida. The Panthers play in Sunrise, Florida, so it's closer to Miami than it is to us. And for reference, for those of you who do not know, Tampa, Florida is about 3.5 hours away from Miami. So it is a bit of a living quarter differential. There is no doubt about that. So congratulations to the Panthers again. 51 games, no small feat. Very, very big for them. They were able to beat the Sabres yesterday 3-2. So again, same Sabres team that the Bolts struggled against. Or not struggle, but will be playing against tomorrow at 7 p.m. And so we'll see what happens there. As I mentioned before, that game between the Bolts and the Sabres, if I didn't give you the time, I do apologize, guys. That game is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Second to last game of the season. So the last game of the season for the Bolts is going to be against the Maple Leafs. If you want to watch, like I said, this is the time right now before the playoffs start. It's either that or you catch them in the playoffs. So Panthers, on the other hand, though, their final game is going to be played against the Maple Leafs. Of course, teams come down here. They play both Florida teams. It makes sense. They do it in basketball too, guys. So don't be surprised that you're going to see the Maple Leafs playing Florida and then playing the Bolts. That game is going to be Tuesday, April 16th at 7:30 p.m. Just in case you want to see how this team is looking. This team has played tremendous over the last really week and a half. They've won 3 straight. Their last 3 to be exact, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and wrap it up with another regular season victory against the Maple Leafs, giving them 4 straight dubs to enter in the playoff picture. Again, like I said, trending in a completely different position than the Bolts are. Again, this is just, they're the best hockey team in Florida at the moment, and that says a lot, especially with the Bolts claiming 2 national titles, Stanley Cup Finals victories, that is, over the last 3 years. So, congratulations again to both teams on making the playoffs. Good luck to both teams. Come on, Bolts, you guys can do it. Panthers, keep doing what you're doing, and you guys will find success. They've agreed to terms with a couple of players, Skog, Okular, and excuse me, Hovorka. We're gonna see how they do. These are kind of role players, all right. Not obviously, you get the idea. Like, Florida likes to play tremendous team hockey. It's what they do. It's what they've been doing for the last 5 years. So these players will obviously make a big difference for them. And they got on at the right time. I think Florida's definitely one of the favorites to make it a deep push into the playoffs, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the Stanley Cup final, especially after the way they played this year. So again, good luck to the Panthers. We'll see how they do. But that's what's going on in the world of hockey. That's what's going on the ice, guys. Look forward to seeing both these teams next week. Hopefully, we will see them, winning and diving deeper into the playoff picture. A team that isn't worried about the playoffs at the moment would be the Rays as we mosey on into the MLB. So this is still the beginning of the season for baseball. The Rays sitting at a rank 3 right now. They were able to take care of business against the Giants. 9-4 victory for them earlier today. Congratulations to the Rays there. They're rocking a 9-7 record. The Giants rocking a 6-10 record. So not the best team in baseball, of course, but a dub is a dub. We take dubs. Period. The end. That's what matters. Next game is going to be against the Angels. That team's rocking a 7-8 record, so one game under 500 there. Tomorrow, 6:50 p.m. If you guys want to check that game out, you got plenty of time to watch it before Monday Night Raw comes on. If you're going to be watching that, holla at your boy. I will be too. Yes, I'm stuck in the 2000s. It is what it is. Word to your mother, I guess. In any case, that game is going to be a pretty good game though, because the Angels, they're not as bad off as the Giants. They're actually, a hair away from trending in the right direction. This could just be a game to really identify where the Rays are at as a ball club, and I look forward to seeing it. Like I said, when you face a team at 500, it kind of shows you where you're at, right? Winners 4 of the last 5 games, this Rays team is actually looking pretty good at the moment, and if they continue to play like this, they'll find themselves back in a routine success that they found last year. The Rays are one of those teams, like we talked about before, as the Celtics. This is a team that I know other teams don't take seriously. And why would you? What have the Rays shown you? In the last 20 years, the Rays have made it to 2 World Series. They've lost both of them. One of them was a sweep. I love my Rays. I love them to pieces. They got to play better when it counts. They got to play better when it counts. And it starts in the regular season. Last year they did the same thing. They started the season with a historic run. 21-1, I think it was, through their first 22 games or something like that. Something that was completely unheard of to start a season. They looked absolutely phenomenal. And we were so proud to be Rays fans, which we still are proud to be Rays fans. Of course, I don't think that ever leaves. But I think we would like to see that team live up to the moniker that the other teams in Florida, and Tampa specifically, have been able to. And for those of you who do not know what I'm talking about, we've got 3 Stanley Cup victories to our name. In football, we have 2 Super Bowl championships and 2 of the most historic Super Bowl victories of all time. Borrowing that, if you don't know, you better go do your homework and go look at those defensive performances. 2 of the very best defensive performances you will ever see in Super Bowl history. Not to mention the second one that we won had Tom Brady, the GOAT, at the helm, and nobody will understate that. It was absolutely amazing. Okay, so when you have a hockey team, an NFL team, and an Arena Football League team. For those of you who remember the Arena Football League, the Tampa Bay Storm won their title here at home. We won the Arena Football League championship in our backyard, the same way we did it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Rays are the only team in Tampa Bay that can't seem to win the big one. Okay, so as much as we love our team, we would love to see that team rise above and meet that standard that has been met by the other Tampa Bay teams that we love and we cherish so much. So, in any case, like I said before, though, next game is going to be against the Angels. That game tomorrow, 6:50 p.m., just in case you want to check it out. Like I said, got an hour, 10 minutes before Raw comes on. If you're going to be watching, I'm going to be watching. If you are, like I said, holla at me. Let me know what's going on, and we'll talk about that as well. That brings us to the last part of our show, guy, and the part that I'm really excited to talk about. Now, for those of you who have listened to my show before, you guys know I'm a huge martial arts fan. Practice a little martial arts. Did some time in the military. Learned what they had to offer as well inside of the martial arts campaign that is combat sports. Mixed martial arts includes everything, right? So Sambo, karate, Taekwondo, Kung Fu, Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, Kempo, whatever your style is, Chinese Kempo, I don't care. Whatever your style is, okay, mixed martial arts has something for you. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. It's also a great discipline and a great way to relieve stress. Personally, it's one of the things that I do to deal with. I can't wait to get back into the gym for real. Congratulations to all the guys in Kaizen, guys and girls in Kaizen who were able to win their Combat Night Championships. So proud of you guys and what you're able to do. And keep on keeping on, you guys. I can't wait to get back in there. Now, in the meantime, between time, UFC 300 took place last night. And the reason I want to talk about this, obviously, is a big deal. UFC 300 marks the 300th pay-per-view that the UFC has put on. They've been going since 1993. The first three champions was all the same man by a man named Royce Gracie, who brought Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu into the mix. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is something that I do have a little bit of in my bag, and it's something that I would encourage a lot of people to learn because it's a great defensive martial arts that can become offensive if necessary. And it also takes place on the ground versus being standing up, which means it also severely limits the amount of damage that you would probably take if you would just stand and bang, if that's the case. Speaking of standing and banging, there was a lot of that last night, guys. So I just want to run through this really quickly. Like I said, UFC 300 card, biggest card in UFC history. 11, I believe, total fighters were current and or past champions that were on this card, and what that means is you were expecting some high-level martial arts. It's exactly what we got. Deiveson Figueiredo was able to submit Cody Garbrandt early in the card, the first fight on the card. Absolutely amazing to see those two throw down. Huge fan of both of those guys. Congratulations to Deiveson. He's in his natural weight class. I believe he's now here at, 35? And he's an absolute terror. Congratulations to him. Aljo, listen, Dana, I understand you might have been frustrated with Aljo, but he still won. He deserved the post-fight interview. But Aljo was able to win his fight against Calvin Kattar. It went about the way you would expect it to go, so I wouldn't say I'm surprised there. It was slightly boring of a fight, but I get it. A win is a win is a win, and if we're not going to argue about it with, when other fighters do it, I'm not going to do that with Aljo. So Aljo, they did you wrong, but listen, brother, we saw what you did. Great performance, and you look great at 45. Keep going, big dog. Keep going. Now, as we transition into the latter part of the card, Yuri Prochazka put on a hell of a performance. Yuri, you're always a fun guy to watch. It was one of those things where it was like, you may not say it, but when he said that you weren't a samurai, you took that personally, and we saw it. And we saw you use that samurai style there, that no loss of motion kind of movement that you possess, especially with your striking game being so unorthodox. You did get tagged a couple of times, but you showed that unless you're Alex Pineda, your chin doesn't worry about being tagged, and you did a great job offensively speaking, again, mixing it up. So very proud of Yuri, what you were able to do there. Congratulations, big guy. Keep moving up the totem pole, and I hope you get that rematch against Alex, because I think that next time, if you see Alex, you have as good a shot as anybody did, especially after what we saw happen to Jamal Hill. Speaking of Jamal Hill, let's talk about the main card. So I'll be the first one to say Bo Nickal shouldn't have been on the main card. The guy hasn't really done anything, and even still beating Cody Brundage it's a good win, but it's still not a reliable one. I'm still not sure that if you put him in with a world-class wrestler that he doesn't get tossed around. And I think that's the point that I believe here. Cody Brundage isn't exactly a great wrestler himself. Yes, he has the pedigree. He's a mixed martial artist. But I think he was hoping to do other things in the fight. He started out doing other things, but couldn't continue, got tired, and ended up losing via submission. Further on into the main card, my heart broke with Charles Oliveira losing. There are a lot of people who think that Charles won that fight and that he was not given a fair deal. One of the things that we have to take into consideration is that in mixed martial arts, they do value control time as a fundamental source of success, and because of that, that's the reason why they did not give him the victory. But if you were to watch the fight, there's no doubt unequivocally that Charles Oliveira was the more exciting fighter, and he was also the fighter who actually ended up on top and did more threatening. And when you look at it from that perspective, those UFC fans and people alike who believe that Charles won have a fair belief to think that, and also have a fair argument. I think that maybe they should switch the two and say, hey, damage and positioning should outweigh control time if you're not doing anything, because for the most part, let's be honest, he just laid on Charles. And I'll be the first one to say, I don't think that should get you a victory. On the feet, Charles was good. He's usually always good. I think he had the advantage, to be exact. And when you look at that and you say, okay, yeah, so what happened on the ground? You realize nothing really happened on the ground. Charles wasn't really threatened much. He got busted open a little bit, but you could see when it happened. It really just a testament to one great strike versus a ton of them. And so that's something that should be looked back at. I personally didn't score the fight in Charles's favor, but I need to rewatch it because as a biased person, I try my best not to be biased, and I could just be passively looking past Charles. Nonetheless, we love you, Charles. We hope you get back on board, and we still want to see you get that title back. You're still our champion at 55. I don't care what people say about Islam Makhachev. When a guy decides to defend his title only once a year, and when he does, the person who's supposed to fight him isn't able to fight him, and you have to get somebody else to come do it. Islam, listen, I'm not knocking your skill, bro, but you're not a real champion. You're not. A real champion would defend his title. Okay? You know who's a real champion? Alex freaking Pineda. Okay, let's talk about Alex. Before we go into the other two fights, I want to talk about Alex, okay? Alex is a tremendous kickboxer. He showed that once again last night with a first round knockout of one Jamal Hill. The thing is for me is it's his fans. I personally like Alex, okay? I'm an Alex fan, but there's somebody that I like more. There's somebody who actually sits inside my top 5, and he's very close and near dear to my heart. It's Israel Adesanya. And for those of you who don't know, here's a quick rundown. Israel Adesanya was a former kickboxer. He came over to MMA, took over the world of MMA, and Alex just followed him. He was in kickboxing and followed him in kickboxing, beat him twice in kickboxing, but those wins come with air quotations and asterisks next to them. There was a lot of help. Alex received a lot of help in both of those fights. And for those of you who are fight fans, go back and look at those two fights because it's very important to see that Alex did not win the first fight, but they gave him a decision victory, but he was outpointed every step of the way in almost every single round. And in the second fight, Izzy actually had Alex knocked down, but Alex received a standing 8 count into a 10-second bell ring. So it was very, very questionable victories for Alex there. When you get to the UFC, the fight that he did win, the first one, he won that fight. I just have to say that I think that Alex had put Izzy in such a place where even though Izzy was still conscious, he was taking so much damage that I, as the referee, probably would have stopped the fight too. Maybe I would have stopped it a little bit afterwards if he took another big shot, but realistically speaking, that was the move that was made. When you look at the final fight that they had, this is the only fight in their 4-fight series that we've seen with a definitive winner, and that was Izzy knocking Alex out cold. The reason why I bring that up is because you can't mention one without the other. Alex is such a terrifying striker that unless you're Israel Adesanya, you basically don't have a chance. And Jamal Hill, you know, he met that fate last night. Jamal Hill proceeded with a low kick that ended up being it hit him in the cup, hit Alex in the cup. The referee was moving in to stop the fight. Alex was like, no, I've downloaded enough information. I'm knocking this guy out. And within 2-3 seconds afterwards, he's putting a left uppercut on Jamal's chin, sending him to the netherworld. And unfortunately, now Jamal has to go back to the drawing board and figure out what he needs to do better. He was doing a good job up to that point, but unfortunately, that was the end of the night for Jamal, who ended up having his own dreams that were sweet. Alex is a wonderful man to watch in martial arts, and I can't wait to see what he does next. But I am sick and tired of his fans completely just bringing up Israel every step of the way. Last night was a celebration of Alex. I'm going to choose to celebrate Alex. Congratulations on a world championship, defending your world championship against the former champion and also claiming your rightful place as the pound-for-pound 205 king. Can't wait to see what you do next, Alex, and keep working on your English because I love to hear you speak English, bro. So, yeah, there's that. So, moving down from there, Zhang Weili defended her title in historic fashion. And when I say historic fashion, it's because for the first time ever, the Chinese were in the co-main event, and both fighters were Chinese. So congratulations to both of them. Yan put on an amazing fight. I thought the fight was over at the end of the first round when Zhang Weili had Yan choked out, but she woke up. The referee was able to help get her back going, and she fought the rest of the way. Man, I give her flowers. I'm a huge Zhang Weili fan, so I've already given her flowers. Congratulations, you did a great job. I'm very proud of you. Keep dominating. But to Yan, I want to say what a performance you put on last night. Absolutely intoxicating, absolutely phenomenal to see you do your thing. And I have to admit, I was blown away by your skill, your determination, and your heart, and you will forever be a great martial artist. Congratulations to you, Yan. And the last bit that I'm going to leave you guys with is I want to talk about one of my favorite fighters all the time, somebody that I've always enjoyed watching, somebody that is also near and dear to my heart, like Izzy, like Charles. That would be Max Holloway. Guys, Max Holloway is an absolutely gifted and blessed fighter. For those of you who know who I did right there, he put on a performance of the Aegis and the BMF Championship. He hosted Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje is the former champion and was the guy that a lot of people consider to have the most devastating hands and strikes in in the UFC. I mean, depending on where you're from, you might there's Alex, there's Derek, but of course there's also that guy at 55, Justin Gaethje. Well, let me tell you something. You got to add somebody else to that mix because Max Holloway did the most legendary thing. Max Holloway dominated most of the fight. I had it 4-1 Max Holloway. But for those of you who has watched Max's throughout his career, and note, he's never been dropped before in UFC history. Or in martial arts history, for that matter. He's never been dropped. And he told Justin, with 10 seconds left in the fight, meet me in the center of the octagon. He pointed at the center of the octagon. They got there, and they literally swung for the fences for the last 10 seconds, and with 1 second on the clock, guys, with 1 second on the clock, Max Holloway was able to shut the lights out of Justin completely, and I mean Justin was sleeping. I mean, he was unconscious to claim his BMF title. He is now a 2-title champion. He has now won titles in 2 different weight classes after being the former 145-pound champion. Max, I am so proud of you. I am so just beyond the stars and the moon about what you're able to accomplish. Watching you live has always been something that has brought a smile to my heart, has brought joy to me, and I just pray that you continue to be able to do it. I look forward to seeing what you do next time, my friend, and I can't wait to see you challenge for your next title and maybe even hold 2 titles and become the first 3-time champion in UFC history. Absolutely phenomenal stuff last night. Great card, and yes, Dad, Kayla Harrison was the real deal. She destroyed Holly Holm last night, and I don't want to not shine any light on her, so congratulations, Kayla Harrison, on what you're able to do. But hey, when you're an Olympic gold medalist, things are going to become a little bit easier for you when you translate, right? Well, guys, I know I've kind of talked your ear off for today, hour-long show. I really appreciate you guys for joining me here on Palm Tree Sports Radio and talking to me about what's going on here in the state of sports of Florida. That is the state of Florida of our sports, I should say. Again, UFC 300 was really it was a spectacle. If you have the ability to go back and watch it, I would tell you go back and watch it. You may never ever see a card like this ever again, or at least not until UFC 400 at least. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Congratulations to all the fighters. Congratulations again to Max Holloway, Zhang Weili, and Alex Pineda as they were able to win their championship matches. And I'm just beyond proud of this card, and I'm proud of you guys for hanging in there with me and getting all this information. And I really hope to see you guys same time, same place next time. Thank you, Dad, so much. This is an homage to you. Every show I do it with you in mind, and you and Kovu, of course, my son. I know you can't hear me right now, but you and your mom are out there on vacation. You guys, they're in the Bahamas, guys. So listen, just sending happy travels and prayers to you guys. I really hope that you guys enjoy it. And again, thank you guys so much. Jen, it was a pleasure to have you. It's always a pleasure to have you here on the show. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it, you guys. And look forward to Pop being back into the mix. I'm pretty sure he'll find his way over here to do another show sometime soon. And once we get him on board, we will have a beautiful show for you guys, okay? In the meantime, some quick words of wisdom. Enjoy your free time. Enjoy your time with your family. I know it's a lot of fun out there to go out there and live life and to do things and to be fast and whatnot, but don't forget to take time for yourself, time for rest, and time to isolate and really think about what's going on in here in life. The world is such a crazy place right now, and I just pray, safety and happiness over you guys and your families. I look forward again to seeing you guys same time, same place here at Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name has been Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, guys. Peace and love to all. I will see you guys here same time, same place next week. Peace.